So here we are, and it's Saturday, and you know how it is, right? Saturday is just like my time. It's not your time anymore. So, I set my category to like category, yeah, sure. My category to exercise your demons because that's a fucking nice category. The title is irrelevant because that's like beyond the point completely. Um, as you may have noticed, there is no background. There's just my voice, and that's gonna change. But before it changes, we gotta talk about like what's gonna happen here, right? Um, well, what's gonna happen is I will just tell you. All right, I'm not gonna teach you. I'm not gonna fucking mentor you, okay? Because I can't. But I'm gonna tell you what I know um, of martial arts, okay? So, and the reason for that is because, well, first, I want to go through it in my head. I want to like review it in my head. It's been like such a long time. And, I just, I think that, I think what is going to be left behind is just streams and, and parts of me. And martial arts has been a part of me for quite a while, I guess. And so I want to leave behind. Not that I'm going anywhere, okay? Just shut the fuck up. It's more like I want to like to like archive this shit, okay? And as always, it's just my personal take, and I'm not like a trainer, okay? Now, whether I could have been or not is something that you will decide. I have taught before. Um, it didn't last long for very different reasons, though. But yeah, I used to have like a small class, okay? It's a very small class, but that doesn't matter because that doesn't prove anything, okay? Um, because this is absolutely just subjective and unofficial in any capacity, and like, again, technically, I don't have the necessary credentials. And nor am I saying that, like, oh, because I lack the credentials, this is like the true form of martial arts. No, this is completely my perspective and my understanding of what somebody else's understanding was, okay? Which may have changed by now. And maybe if I went back and said, okay, I'm back, you motherfucker, time to learn, maybe I would be taught differently. Who the fuck knows? But the truth of the matter is that at one point I stopped, okay, for my own personal reasons, which I have discussed like way back in the past, okay. Uh, and from there, I took a different path. Like I just kind of like, wow, that sounded badass, But no, it just means that like I pursued things my way, right? So I did some stupid things and I did some things that were nice, and eventually I came to like my own conclusions, and then I also came to the conclusion that I'm fucking done, you know. I'm fucking done learning. Um, Not because I knew everything, but because I was done learning. That's it. I didn't want to do it anymore because I had been doing it for like years, and even like a decade. And even after that, for yet another decade, I was working out. I was like trying to like, you know, teach myself a few things based on what I knew. So not like, it didn't just appear in my mind or anything. But I was just pulling at strings that were already there, and seeing what happened, what kind of thing unraveled in my mind. So again, this is absolutely just my, if you will, all right, to put you into to immerse you a little bit. It's just my way, okay? Which may not be a way at all, but it is just how things are in my head. Okay, don't do the in your head thing. Do not. I can feel it in your brain. You're doing it. Don't do it. Stop. I'm trying to keep it serious. Okay, so don't do it. So okay, so yeah, that's how it is in my head. That's how it is in my memory. And hey, my brain is just a mess in general, and so maybe what I will say is a total mess, but I don't care because it has worked for me, and that's all I need. And what this is this part. Is the part of what has worked for me, right? What actually worked for me? What happened? What did I take away from all this shit, right? What conclusions did I reach? Which, again, all of them might be wrong. All of everything I might say going forward with this quote-unquote series may be absolutely 100% wrong. Who the fuck knows? I don't know. And let's not even go into the philosophical side of things where is it really wrong if it is right for me and what does that mean and blah blah. No. No. Truth of the matter is that for all intents and purposes, for all you care, I might be making this shit up. You don't know. That's why I'm saying I'm not going to be telling you like do this that way, do this that way. No, I'm just gonna be explaining how it works for me, you know? That's how it works for me, for my body, for my taste, if you will, because it's also very subjective. You know, some people don't like to dance to techno, okay? Some people just like dancing to fucking, I don't know, Latin rhythms, you know? It's very personal, it's very subjective, it's what you take from it. Nobody can really teach someone else, you know, how to be that person. You can't do that, right? So fighting, martial arts is as much an expression of yourself as dancing and singing and everything, right? So yes, you can teach someone the basics, but I'm not here to teach you the basics of, like, I'm not qualified, okay? But I can share, I can put down on paper, so to speak, my take of these things, okay? So it doesn't get more humble than this. It doesn't get, like, there is no possible, you know, barrel of the bottom where I can throw myself to convince you that I'm not trying to flex or anything. Like, I cannot be humbler than this without, like, you know, overstepping and appearing meek or meager or like, you know, not confident, because I am. But at the same time, I just have to tell you, this is literally just parts, like, maybe, you know what, you can see it as me telling myself these things, okay? You can see it as that, and you're just watching. Maybe you're out in the park and you just suddenly notice like a crazy girl just going like, okay, blah blah, and just talking to herself, you know, and just doing some weird things. And maybe you just stop there and go like, oh, okay, let me just watch a little bit, you know, since it's like fucking public property and, you know, there's no privacy. So, you know, except of course in this case, I'm allowing you to do that. As a side effect of me wanting to record it, but not just record it, because it feels, for some reason, recording shit is more difficult to me than streaming them, okay? So it makes me focus if I'm just streaming it, okay? So that out of the way, now that we cleared up that, like, yeah, I'm not like whatever you might think, it's just simply what it is, okay? There's no motive behind it. I'm not aiming to like compete, I'm not aiming to say that, oh, what that guy says is wrong, you know. That has a place on my stream, but this is not the place, all right? There are moments, some Saturdays, where I will just yap about like how this martial arts video is like maybe in my opinion wrong because blah blah, or maybe it's correct because blah blah, you know. This is not it. This is just very personal. It's like from me to me, right? And you're just watching. I'm not even gonna do the whole thing that my old teacher used to do, where he would say, you know, all these things are from me to you, because I'm not teaching. He was a teacher. I'm not a teacher. Okay. So I hope that it's clear. I hope that part, like, because I cannot explain it to you any better. Okay. I cannot explain it to you any better. And I don't know, I mean, even though I said I have taught people, in my head I wasn't teaching them, and that's something I told them, not out of like humble brag, but out of like, okay, you guys gotta be my team, right? You're my team, and we learn, you know, like a class, but there's no teacher. It's just like people, like I just happen to know a few things, so I was gonna show them to them, and they were going to like try and absorb it, right? Because I just happened to pour like 10 years and more of my life into this, so you know, I probably knew a couple of things that maybe they didn't know. Who knows? Maybe they did know. Who the fuck knows? You know. But that's how it went, and they fucking loved it. I loved it. It was like really special to me, and the bond that we created was really special. With some of them, I did have pre-existing bonds, but they were strengthened through that. And yeah, you know, there were some side adventures with that, which were really fucking funny, which include like threesomes, and they include like breaking into a home to open the door for someone to actually go into their home because they had forgotten their keys inside and somehow got locked outside. And we, you know, we used like our team tactics to just climb up to the second floor and just like go into the house. And it was pretty funny. I mean, lots of stuff, you know, like that. And I remember like fondly many days, many Saturdays and Sundays where we would go to the park next to my home, and we would train in like something like 35 degrees Celsius under the sun. And we were immune to that shit. We were like, yeah, this is hyped, you know, we're fucking absorbing all the fucking energy. We were hydrating properly, we were taking breaks, but also we were very much training as well. It was fantastic, you know, it was like a camp or something. Right here, like right next to my place. Anyway, and I remember all that fondly is what I'm trying to say. It was great. It was great. But was I a teacher? No, I wasn't. You know, nobody walked into the fucking class and was like, "Oh, Sifu." You know, it's nothing like that. We're just like, "Hey, motherfucker. Hey, bitch, sup? You ready to get fucked?" You know, that's how it went down. That was like how it went down. And yeah, so that was pretty nice, I guess. And there were bad moments as well. There were like two moments for which I will forever feel ashamed, um, which is very interesting. One of them had to do with like somebody completely like collapsing at one point during class. That's on them, by the way, not on me. The only reason why I feel ashamed of that is because that person kind of like blamed me for some reason. And I was like, dude, I never said I'm like a nutritionist. I never said like I'm just telling you what I eat to keep up my physique. You know, maybe for you that's too little. Who the fuck knows? And that person was like literally fucking blaming me for their fucking mental breakdown. But that person never slept, like literally surviving on fucking caffeine and sugar, literally dehydrated 24/7, never sleeping, always in front of the computer, always overtaxing their brain. That person used to fall asleep during our RP sessions, you know, our tabletop RPG sessions. Honestly, I didn't do shit, but I still feel bad. You know, I feel bad for them. This is bad, you know. And the second time was like during training. I was legit not expecting to see such a moment where literally, you know, two of my guys, let's say, they're sparring, right? Trying to basically incorporate a little bit more leg work. So that was the purpose of sparring. The purpose wasn't to spar, but to actually teach themselves to not go for just, you know, default auto attacks, but to actually, you know, move your legs a little, you know, just don't be so afraid to use your legs that much, you know, when it's appropriate, which we will talk about, but let's not talk about it now. And what I witnessed was fucking Hollywood. Because they both like do a spinning kick. It was just appropriate, and I guess they also felt like it because they were hyped as fuck. And their legs interlock, right? But one of them was properly conditioned, the other one wasn't. And so what happened is, when their shins clashed and they locked, that guy got injured, right? One of the guys got injured. And it made him completely drop out immediately. And although he never blamed me, I did feel responsible. And so that's like my story of shame, I guess. But that's it. Other than that, I mean, yeah, when I was learning, yeah, there were stories, but we're not gonna talk about that. Not now. This is not it. You know, this now I don't want to talk about that. Now I just want to do what I said. I want to fucking info dump what's in my shitty head, so that maybe later I can sit and say, oh man, I was talking shit. Or, oh man, I was so fucking right. Or, I don't know. Or, oh man, I'm gonna leave something behind. Or whatever. I don't know, dude. Something like that, you know. It's not really teaching anyone, okay? So, yeah. Yeah, that's what it is. I cannot fucking underline and stress anymore that this is not a humble brag, but it is genuinely just humbly depositing shit that I know, which I will try, because for me it's very difficult to structure these things in my head, okay? It's like I'm grasping at bubbles with thoughts and memories inside, and I'm trying to pop them and see what kind of fucking magical stardust comes out, and hoping that it comes out in the right order so that it's not confusing to you or to me, you know? So it's kind of like, it's kind of fucked up, you know? So yeah, there will be blunders, there will be like, I might misspeak at one point or other, I might just like have to say something 50,000 times until I get it right. This is not scripted, there's no script, there's nothing. It's just literally fucking yapping about it and also showing you, but we're gonna go with that like later. So that's one thing that I wanted to start with. I'm gonna call this a series because I'm gonna be doing this. You know, I'm in. You know, I'm all in. I'm gonna do this. Okay. So yeah, today it starts, I guess. So before we go on, there's something else I have to say, and that is that you will see me on camera. Okay. I don't know if it's always gonna happen. Today it's going to happen because I need to show you some things. But yeah, as I've always said in my fucking videos where I show myself like my full body, whenever I work out or whenever I get physical, whether it's like at a club and I'm dancing, which, hey, that happened last week. Whether I'm at home working out, it doesn't matter to me. I love wearing certain style of clothes, right? And I love I love feeling a certain way. I like the you know, I like showing off my body. I like feeling that, like, you know, I can't explain it. But what I'm trying to say, which I've said before, is that I'm not trying to show off because, first of all, there's not much to show off because I'm like 90 kilograms, okay? There's like I'm a bit fat, all right? I'm trying to say that I'm not trying to show off, okay? It's just this is how I feel confident, comfortable, which is very important, all right? And that's how I dress for that reason, and not for the purpose of, like, I don't know, tricking some filter on Twitch and like getting views. Fucking God save you if you need me to do that, you know. No, it's just literally how I am comfortable. It's also mostly how I appear on stream every time. With my favorite, like, couple of t-shirts, right? Couple of tops, right? And the rest you can't see because the camera just doesn't go that low. I make sure that there's nothing inappropriate. And even though you could say some of it may be inappropriate, I would fight you on that. It's not. Everything is covered. I'm not showing more flesh than I would show when I go out clubbing or at the beach. Okay? Actually I'm showing less, to be fair. But if you're like you know, squeamish or something, then yeah, I don't know, that's you, man. That's not me, okay? That's your fucking problem. That's not my problem. I'm not breaking any rules. But I do like feeling comfortable, and like I don't like, you know, heavy clothing, and I don't like wearing fucking uniforms, and I don't like wearing, you know, you're not gonna catch me in a fucking gi here, okay? You're gonna catch me with the clothes that I wear when I go to bed and when I get out of bed, right? That's it. More or less, you know, give or take a percentage, that's it. So it's not like I'm doing it on purpose to, like, I don't know, to fucking bait you or something. I don't give a fuck about you. It's just really just how I feel comfortable, for real. And people who have lived with me in real life know this, and people who club with me, they know this. You know, I mean, hell, Last week I was like out, and like my ass was like out there for everyone to see. Nobody batted an eye. It's just, yeah, I don't know what to tell you, dude. It's like, but if you're squeamish, I owe it to you to warn you, And also, it's not gonna be the focus of the stream. The focus of the stream is literally what I'll be showing and what I'll be talking about. That's the focus of the stream. And so, yeah, so that's out of the way. And then the third thing I wanted to say is the quality of the stream. So, okay, I have no idea about lighting, cameras, setups, and my room is just a boring ass room, for you out here trying to find some cool streamer or something, it's just an everyday room. There's nothing about it. Even the color is just a little bit drab, if you want my opinion. But it's what I got, and it's the only thing I got, and I don't have money to fucking change that anyways. And that's for the camera and lighting. I'm fucking winging it, okay? I'm improvising. So sometimes, and this is the disclaimer, the third disclaimer, sometimes it might look trash, okay? And you're gonna have to cope. I don't know, my queens and my lords and ladies, you're gonna have to fucking cope and deal with that, because I'm not aiming to make some kind of like high quality production here, okay? Not because, oh, I'm too fucking cool for that. No, it's because I just don't have the knowledge. I can't even edit my videos. I'm a lazy bum, okay? I'm a 2-bit bum when it comes to that shit. I'm sorry. But also not sorry. So yeah, I don't know. As long as you can hear me and see me relatively clearly, yeah, that's it. You know. And what else? What else? Yeah, music, right? Because sometimes I might use some music here and there, just because I don't know. Sometimes it's inspiring to me, right? Sometimes it's inspiring to me, so I might just use some music, and I don't intend any like copyright or whatever. And I'm pretty sure that like YouTube or Twitch or whatnot or wherever you're watching um, will have some kind of mechanism where they're gonna mute the audio. I'll try to avoid it by just using non-copyrighted music, but you know, if audio cuts at one point or whatever, and some info is lost in there, whatever, just I don't know, maybe I'll catch it and then I'll repeat it next time without the music or some shit like that, I'll try my best. I don't know what to tell you. I'll just try my fucking best, I guess. What else? You should also know that this has another purpose, and that purpose is to motivate myself to get back into working out and to get back into being a little bit more physically active, right? And this motivates me because, like, I have to show you some things. So I will be moving. I won't be like sitting down most of the time, I hope at least. And yeah, so that works for me too. Like, it's not just telling you stuff, it's also getting me a little bit up and running, giving me a nice little jump start. But do remember, and that's the disclaimer part, do remember that, as I said, I am out of shape, okay? And so that might that might actually, I don't know, affect some things or how I show some things or whatever. But hey, that also means that, like, once more, I am quote unquote learning with you. Okay, so I'm not teaching you, we're learning together. I'm remembering things because I want to say them out loud, and you're just here listening, I guess. So it helps me in that way. But if you see any junk, yeah, because if you're expecting like the quality of, let's say, wait, who does like high quality like martial arts, like stuff where they show like their fucking skin? I don't know. Many people, I guess, at this point. Yeah, I'm not these people. I'm a bum. I told you. And you know what? In a way, I was always a proponent of like the idea that if you need top physical condition to perform, then what you're about to perform is as fragile as your physique, and your physique is very fragile because you're human. Age will catch up, Having just eaten a McDonald's burger is gonna catch up. So everything that I do, all right, or at least the basis of what I do, that's the important part, the core, the basis, like where it's based on. I always aimed it to be things that you can just do, okay, things that you can just do. Um, but going from there to high performance feats is also possible, and it depends on you and your level of, like, you know, readiness. I don't fucking know. Condition? I don't fucking know what to tell you. But you'll figure it. But we're gonna start from the very, very beginning, and we're going to assume that we're just like, that we don't know shit. Okay, just shit at all. And anyway, as I was saying, I'm a proponent of the whole theory of, like, if you learn something and then 10 years later you can't fucking use it, well, that something is useless. Or at the very best, situational. All right? And I try to avoid these things, even though I value them and they do have a tactical application, but more on that later, okay? But yeah, make sure that at least, like, whatever we do, that's like my mantra on that one, should be able to be done 80% of the situations that you'll find yourself in. And what situations you're gonna find yourself in is also something that we gotta talk about, because it's fine and dandy if we're assuming that, like, oh, the floor is not wet. Oh, visibility is fine. Oh, there's not, like, sand in my eyes, or whatever. We're gonna assume, like, a totally average, a situation, like a vacuum, let's say, but we'll build up from there, and we will talk about, like, bullshit, like, okay, what happens if, how to determine, like, what I can and cannot use in this situation, depending on blah and blah, we're gonna see that all. Because martial arts is not just your physical performance, it's also like your mental acuity, right? It's also grasping the situation, and even more, creating the situation or avoiding it or changing it, And it can go all the way to being able to, like, maybe even affect the other person just by talking, perhaps, or, like, diplomacy, okay? Fucking psychology. There's so many things that you can learn, and you should learn, if you're interested, of course, because honestly, who the fuck knows where this shit is gonna be useful. I know one fact, though: it's really useful to be confident, okay? Not false confidence, not misplaced confidence, but but your fighting spirit being, like, alive and kicking, and that will help you everywhere. Like, that's gonna help you everywhere. There is no single thing where it won't help you, okay? And so there is at least that takeaway. Like, if you deem that, like, 90% of everything that I will say is useless, which might well be, okay? Well, cultivating your fighting spirit and, like, understanding what it means to you, okay, to you, not to me, to you, will definitely be a nice journey, and something that will probably be useful to you in some circumstances. Even if that circumstance is, oh my god, I can't talk to that girl or that boy. Or, for example, how the fuck do I wear my favorite miniskirt without losing my fucking shit out there because people are looking, that is, like, takes a certain kind of confidence, a certain kind of, like, stamina, let's say. And you build it by believing in yourself. In martial arts and knowledge and all that shit, they help you with that. They help build confidence, for sure. Anyway, not that you need it, because I'm pretty sure that you're fucking amazing already, but I need it because I was never that confident, okay? So yeah, until I was, of course, but I started, like, very, very low. I started fucking debuffed as fuck, you know? And so yeah, martial arts, in my case, helped, so what can I tell you? Anyway, that's it then. So I think I've said everything I could possibly say. Half an hour of an intro. Now, last difference with other times that I've tried to do something. This one, this half an hour, everything I've said, I will not repeat. Okay? This is it. I will not repeat this. I will not be doing this intro every time. Like from now on, when I start the stream with the purpose of like just what I explained earlier, it's gonna be just bam, just that's it, we're starting, that's it, okay? That's how it's gonna go. I don't wanna have to say these things all the time. It's fucking tiring, it's exhausting, man. It's like it's been more than half an hour, okay? And this is supposed to be 1 hour total, so yeah. But I'm not gonna just do half an hour, I'm just gonna like, I'm gonna talk about the basics of like the very beginning. And hey, if that takes like 20 minutes, then that's how long it takes. Okay? Oh, yeah. Maybe I can add this, right? Maybe I can add this. That's important. Sometimes I will talk about one thing, and that one thing might be 10 minutes. Boom, that's a stream. We're done. You know? We're done. That's it. Don't want to do anything else. For example. Other times it might branch out to multiple fucking aspects, to multiple things that come to my mind, and I'm just starting to jump from one to another, and it takes like 4 hours of just yapping and showing stuff. What can you do? Alright? And other times might be in the middle. So what I'm trying to say is don't expect any consistency when it comes to how often, for how long, for how many subjects. No, there's no form. There's no form and no shape. That's it. So if today, for example, because I've been yapping for half an hour, if today I just decide that like, okay, I did this disclaimer and that's enough for the day, that's enough for the day. I'm sorry. Nobody's paying me and I'm not doing it to make money. So it's completely up to me and not at all up to you. And so, yeah. And you don't have to like me. I guess that's the last thing I want to say. You don't have to fucking watch me. You don't have to fucking like me. You don't have to fucking do anything. If you're not interested, just shoo. Okay? Just fucking shoo. I don't care. Just leave. Just leave. I don't care, man. All's good. You know, you're cool. We're cool. We're Gucci. That's it. You know, you don't have to stay. If you don't like how my face looks, you don't have to stay. If you don't like how my body looks, you don't have to stay. You know, you can just leave. There's like some amazing fucking body painting artists, quote unquote, like next stream. Go there and like, I don't know, just go into that, okay? This is not that. That's not the intention, okay? And I understand that sometimes when you look at somebody, you just can't stand their fucking face, okay? I get that. You can't stand the way they talk, they walk, and they look. Yeah. That's fine. Just leave, okay? Just leave. It's okay. Just don't be an ass. And if you are, you know, you're gonna get banned. So it's just such a waste of our time, you know. It's just nothing, honestly. Okay. So there's many ways to start. Let me think. What do I wanna share today? There's many, like there's not a starting point. There's many starting points. Let's try to pick something that I can show, or I have to show, so that I start getting used to the camera, right? Alright, so yeah, I know. Here you go. I know what we're gonna do. Let's start with your posture, right? Now, this is not to say that immediately when a fight starts, you assume a stance. No. But ideally, let's say, right? And if you have the time, which being the utter tactician that you are, you should have the time because you've picked the confrontations parameters because you're such a strategist. This is what it should be, and I'll explain like to the best of my knowledge why. Okay. Now, okay, so that means we have to also talk movement. a little bit, or preparation for movement, because you know what, movement is not as simple as you would think. Okay, but one second though. Okay, fucking Elmer Fudd over there. What can I do for you in terms of like music? That will not also interfere, right? Okay, give me a sec. Something very relaxed, I guess. I just need to be listening to something in the back. Otherwise, I don't know. Or hey, maybe you don't wanna hear anything, right? I don't fucking know. I mean, I would like something. Wait, I'd like something in the background, you know. Let me find something. What the fuck is this? So excuse me, it might bleed through my mic, but like just until we find something, just shut up, okay? What is this like? Let me see. Yeah, okay, we're gonna do that. But does that have like a collection or something? Because that's just one song. Bah. Let me see. What about wait. Is this? Wait. Yeah, okay. All right. So this is good. This is fine for me. Let me just do something about it. So put it there. Then lower it for you. So you probably can pick it up through my mic a little bit. But is this okay? Is this like my voice okay? Can you hear me out properly or whatever? This is good, okay, alright. And you can hear me, right? You can hear me out fine, yeah? Like even when I'm here? Even here? Okay. Let's try something. Okay. So check this out. Hi. Alright? Okay, hi. Okay, and this is my microphone here. Cute, thanks. So you can hear me out, right? But you can't see my legs. Wait. But now you can. Yeah? Now you can, definitely. Alright, so look. Yeah? Okay, cool. So you can see my microphone and part of my chair. Look at this, that's my chair. Okay, so I don't have a high contrast floor, but you can see because my socks are black, so you can kind of see. Okay, cool. God, I feel like I have to yell. I don't know if I have to yell yet, but anyways, you don't have, it doesn't matter if you're like this or like this, like your sides don't matter, but what matters is facing 45 degrees. So your torso should be like 45 there or there, okay? And that's just for purposes of like deflection and purposes of like a little bit of concealment. There is a place for like completely on the side, like completely on the side even, or completely front. But let's not go there. Let's keep it simple, okay? Let's super default stuff. So 45 degrees. Now, what you want to be doing is don't get too comfortable in any kind of stance, let's say, because you might have to change it immediately. So if it's a stance that locks your body in a certain position and is difficult to recover from, then that's not ideal. Unless, and that's gonna be more about it later, unless you assume a certain stance real quick, okay? And I will show you eventually, but not now. In order to perform something in a given situation where it is called for and you have an opening to do so. But even the act of like creating openings is kind of crazy because things happen just like super fast. Like that's it. That's how fast it sounds. Like you know, it's done. So these things have to be like not premeditated, but um, accounted for, so to speak. Anyway, I'm just like I'm getting lost here. Let's go back. So ideally, in a vacuum, as I said, and in a vacuum includes no pressure, no injuries, no like problems, no modifiers, not even an opponent. There's nothing there. But in a vacuum, you're just getting ready, so to speak. You're just like okay. So in that case, just 45 degrees in your favorite side. Tip here: don't have a favorite side. Okay, try not to have a favorite side. Try to be fluid with that. With which leg is your front leg, which leg is your back leg. Just try to be fluid with that a little bit. Like some days try the other side. Just try to see how it feels. But anyway, let's start with our favorite side, which means right foot like back. That's my favorite side. So since I'm showing some stuff, I'll just do that. And now I would say 45 degrees, and the second step would be, and that's just the posture. We're gonna get about the other stuff soon. Just the posture. I would say maybe 75% of your weight on the back leg and the rest on your front leg. Not more. About there, 60-70%, somewhere there. Not too much, not too little, And when it comes to what happens down, at your feet, okay, you don't want a flat one. You want like a bit of a. So let me show you. You can see that now my heel is touching, right? Well, I'm always here, okay? I'm always there. I'm never touching down. I'm there. Both feet. If you can see the difference. And that's something you're gonna get used to. And especially the more you do this exercise here, where you just stand like that and you just like go like this. And the more you do this exercise, you're gonna strengthen that part of your body, and then you'll be able to just like, in a pinch, just raise your heels a little bit. And that's very important because, well, it has some tactical advantages. Should I talk about them? Maybe when we talk about like using our legs to strike, maybe then I'll talk about it. But for now, the important part is that this is like a good starting, posture, okay? And so, what about your stupid hands? I guess now is a good time to say that, no, it's not. What about your stupid hands? And your stupid head? Your hands? Yeah. Normally, officially, theoretically, it's something like this, alright? The ideal stance, according to what I know. And the reason why I'm saying it like that is because, yes, there is some practicality to your hand being exposed, and we're going to talk about that. And it has to do with baiting, not the kind that you find on certain Discord servers. It's a different kind of baiting, and also for distance, for measuring distance. And it has some applications, okay, don't worry about it, even concealment, but not now. But I would say this: use one hand to protect, usually your backhand, okay, you don't want your front one, but usually your backhand to protect the one spot. Like if you had to protect one spot, right? If you had to really protect one spot, which one would it be? The one that can disable you, and the one that has like a whole fucking system of martial arts devoted to striking almost, okay? Which is this, which is your solar plexus, okay? So be there, I would say. It doesn't have to, don't be like this. Be there, some caution. Okay, you don't want to use it. You don't want this used against you, like punch, then you palm your own solar plexus. That's why you want to be a bit loose, okay? So yeah, this is good here because you're protecting like maybe your groin if necessary, and your stomach if necessary, and your face if necessary. Like you can retract and change your hands to this configuration, which protects your head, maybe even conceals where you're looking. because that's important, but more on that later. So there's like various things that you can do with your arms to protect yourself. So you need to have them, but like in a vacuum, here and like here. Okay, just like this. It doesn't need to be like anything more than that. You don't need to be like super focused on being like there or something. Whether you have your hands like free or not, it's up to you, and up to what might happen, what you think might happen. Because like, if your mind is occupied and you're like, oh, I'm gonna have to keep my fists closed, and then you somehow find yourself on the floor or falling, what are you gonna do with your fists like that? You can't even grab something, you can't even like, deflect something or nothing. At least not in a soft circular way. There's ways to do it, but like we're not gonna talk about that. But just have them free a bit. Not like that either. Just have them free. Okay, just free. Just free. Just free your mind. Just fine. It's fine. Just free your, And the same for your feet. Because even though I say, yeah, you have to be a bit raised, it doesn't mean you have to be like, just find it. Just pivot a bit. Just find it, It's okay. And if you need to take a break, just, touch your heels down and just take a small break. That's okay. Shift your weight a bit around. And that's it. And then what about your shoulders? Yeah. A lot of people are worried about, you have to, don't be like that. Yeah, obviously, don't be like this, but also obviously, don't be like that. Just relax. Just give them a little bit of warm up here, and that's it. You're done. Just let them sit naturally. Okay, let them sit naturally. And your head, well, your head is a different story. So this is where we might start like getting into the this is how it works for me kind of territory, and this is how it works for me. I don't make eye contact. I will look, so you can imagine as you look at me, right? You can imagine that there is a cross going from my head all the way down to here, crossing my energy center, let's say, if you want to believe all that, but like importantly, it's just a line. Now add another line that goes through my nipples, and you have a cross. And that is my body's center is going to be exactly where this cross, where these lines, form the cross. That's my center. That's where your focus should be on your opponent. Or your target. I'm not going to say opponent because it sounds cringy. But on your target. Okay, your target. Yeah, that's a good neutral word, your target. That's where your eyes are. You're not focusing on it as in, no. Just rest your eyes on that spot and don't focus on it. And start taking in what's happening around you, including your target. Their legs and their arms and their head. Don't focus on their expression, and don't focus on what they're saying, and don't focus on how they move. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you move. You don't have to move. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to respond to anything. Just do that. Just be like, okay, that's it. Don't look in the eye. You don't have to. And that is also going to help you with somebody who is like up close, because the closer that we get, if you're looking into my eyes, you're now missing parts of what's happening down here. So for me, eye contact is no, and I don't want no motherfucker looking into my eyes either, okay? Because to me it's not personal. Like a fight for me is not personal. It's like I just have to like, it's like a HUD, a heads-up display, right? It's not personal. It's like just a user interface. Can you understand what I'm saying? That's the idea. It's impersonal, completely. Okay. And there you have it. And now, what do you do from here? So normally you would think, oh, now we have to talk about like striking. No, we don't, because you don't know how to move. You don't know how to press WASD, or even space or control, because trust me, that, you know, comes into it. Alright, let's try moving the mouse around. And what does that do? Well, that changes your side, right? And there are certain ways to do that. Just like For Honor, you know, you move your mouse and you change like sides. Alright, that's what happens here, okay? So remember, first of all, every part of your body is separate. Treat your parts of your body as separate. The more you can separate them, the better. And this eliminates reading. Also, you know, telegraphing, yes, it can have a tactical application and a different result, but don't do it unless you need to, because we're talking in a vacuum now. And in a vacuum, you don't need to telegraph shit. So, you know, we have to start from like moving our mouse around. So forget striking, forget everything I said, just move your mouse. And so by doing so, the most vanilla way of changing is like without moving forward or backward or there or there or there or there or there or there, is just to on the spot change your feet. Okay, that is the most vanilla way. And you're gonna help yourself do that by moving your waist. So minimize your rigidity by moving your waist, okay? Doesn't have to be more than that. And the way that the reason why I'm moving both feet is because I don't want this effect. I don't want this effect. Because now I've moved. That's dangerous. Because I'm closer to the other person. But like this, I'm not moving because I'm shuffling my legs. All right. So that's a good way to start, right? And then you might want to do what I said, which means you might want to go forward, but also switching, right? So in which case, just switch your weight around. One thing before we go into moving, you move. I'll blow your mind. You move from here. This is your center. So any movement involves dragging your center somewhere else, okay? Not your upper body somewhere else. Your center somewhere else, okay? Your center is traveling, not your head, okay? You're not here. You're all of this, okay? And this is the center here. So, you know, below your belly button. And so that's what you want to be moving. Okay, that's what you're moving essentially. Okay? Don't go too low, don't go too high. That has applications. But that's for things like weaving and stuff like that, which again, don't even start with that. Let's go back to mouse movement, okay? And so, you know, you want to switch, you do that. Pretty interesting, right? And then I'm blowing your mind right now. And then the same can be done if you want to move. The same can be done there, okay? And so in that case, now we have sorted out movement that way. As you can imagine, it's similar this way, right? Notice that now I'm opening myself 45 degrees there, okay? So moving changes your available stratagems. Okay, so moving is not that simple. All right. However, there is also another type of movement, because now we're talking about movement when you're locked in Dark Souls on your target. You're locked. So if I move, right, I'm moving there. You see the difference? But if I'm not locked on the target, and let's say that I'm like this, then moving will be like this here. I still see my target, but I'm not locked. And now, as you can see, it's different. This presents different targets, and it allows you to do different things. Does that make sense? Does that make any sense to you? I'll give you a better example, all right? You lock on your target, you want to move there, right? And you're like this. All right, either you're gonna this way, okay, but you're still looking there, or you're gonna do there, for example. But if you're not locked, then you can very simply just completely leave, right? You can still see them, but your body is in a different position completely. And that's something interesting. You can also do the opposite. You can just, there, you left. So that's it. You left your position completely, but you're not looking at them. You're looking like there. You can also see them, but you're not facing them the same way as you would. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And so this can be simplified by the basics of pivoting, I guess, So basically that says that, okay, what can I do from this position without moving my front leg? I can go back, I can go front, right? I can go there, I can go there, okay? And I can do also the same in like diagonals, right? I can do the same in diagonals without moving my front leg. It's rooted. And the same goes for my back leg, right? Root your back leg. Okay, you move there, right? You move there, you move there, you move there, you can move there, you can move there, okay? You don't even, but if you mix shuffling, then you're walking. Told you, I'm gonna blow your mind, okay? If you mix shuffling with that, like, oh, look at that, we're walking. And why does that matter? That matters because most of your strikes, any strike, when I say strikes, I mean like any strike, okay? In a vacuum, on average, will come from a spring action from your waist, legs, and like here, okay? It's gonna be like a spring action, okay? It's not gonna be just a small thing. It's a spring action. So if I do that, for example, if I go there, okay, and change also, so let's say that I want to not be rooted, so when that happens I want to also change my leg. So there, now I'm ready to strike, for example, with my leg. So it's very important, or with your, or with your head, or whatever else. We'll talk about that, it doesn't matter, forget that. So, but you see, everything is a spring action, right? On average. There are situations where there will be no spring action, where it's just like really dryly poop. Just really dryly, like, okay, just really dry, just nothing. You can just like, whatever, I'm not even gonna show you how to strike, I'm just like throwing them away, okay, just nothing. Yeah, just waving my hands. But just to show you that, yeah, not everything is gonna be like this snappy thing, It's not always gonna be that. It can be just like, oh, I'm close here, I got a job, right? Blowing your mind again? Maybe. But I would like to think not. But in a vacuum, it's spring action always, okay? Even for front, it's like there, okay? So even your front leg, yeah, sure, you can just like move it or wow, there. But you can also, add a bit of, yeah, a bit of waist in there, goes in, yeah, if you're getting it. I don't know if you can even see it, but like, yeah, it's a bit of oop there, just to give it enough. You get it? Enough. What's the word? God fucking spring action. Okay, let's finish it there. I don't remember the word in English, but it's like that. Okay, so it's spring action. Okay, it's like, yeah, I don't know. You either see it or you don't. I cannot fucking explain it. You have to try it for yourself. And this you cannot force it. As in, you can't go like. It has to be a breath. Okay, it has to be just like breathing in and out immediately. Okay. Because along with movement, another basic starting point is really your breathing. And your breathing must be regulated. Not strictly, but whenever you can, remember to regulate your breathing. And your default breathing Because yes, there are different timings for different weather and different things that you want to accomplish, and there is different timings. As I said, when you exhale and inhale, it's not as simple as exhale when you strike, inhale when you don't strike. It's not that simple. But that also is a thing. But it's not just that. So your default in a vacuum breathing pattern, my English, okay, is 4 in, 4 hold, 4 exhale, 4 no breath. Then 4 in, 4 hold. And 4 is 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Not more. Not 1, 2, 3. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Constantly, until it is just like a harmonious breathing pattern. It must not be 1, 2, 3, 4, stop. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold. No, it's like. Okay, all the time. And you breathe in from the nose, and you breathe out from your mouth. And the way that you do that, because air has a tendency to escape when we're breathing, because that's what it does. But also air has a tendency to escape your neck. So use your tongue to seal, okay, to seal the gap here, which is your mouth, before. I'm not gonna continue that, but use your tongue, attach it, press it gently against your, this. I don't even know how that's called in English. Rest it there, and that's how you breathe in, so that no air escapes. And then release it. All right. And I'm exaggerating the movement because I'm trying to like just show it to you, but you probably can't see it. But really, it just looks like that. If you do it like normally, it looks like. You don't even see. Maybe you can see my lips are parted a little bit, but you can't see anything else, can you? Okay. So it's not like that. I'm not showing the other guy what I'm doing. It's like, yeah, like that, easy. This is casual. You get used to it after a while, honestly. You know how you get used to it? You sit down on the floor, and you go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and you do the exercise, and you go like. And you go there, and eventually, you figure it out with your stupid mouth that's only useful for blowjobs. Now it's gonna be useful for breathing. So that's breathing, okay? Now the tricky part of this is that contrary to everything else you might have thought, this pattern must not be interrupted. Which means that whether you're attacking and all that, in a vacuum, because certain conditions require different applications of breathing. But in a vacuum, you should be able to, let's do a silly example, just a stupid example, okay? So you're there, okay, and you're practicing strikes. Some kind of strike, I don't find, just the easiest thing, because we're human, is like there, okay? So that's the pattern, okay, whatever. So the pattern is some jabbing, okay? All right, so while you're doing that, don't focus on your technique, because that's a different thing that you have to practice separately. Before you try to practice it all together, you have to practice all the parts separately, so that when you start combining them, they work. Because if you start combining things you're training, you're gonna overload your brain, and you're gonna start forgetting. You're gonna be going like, oh, I'm doing the technique right, but you're not breathing. Oh, but I'm breathing, but your technique is wrong. Oh, but I'm striking, but not with the wrong part. Oh, but I'm striking with the right part. Yeah, but like your hand is not going where your target is. So you have to practice all these things until they fall into place together, and then you go, now I can sit there like an idiot and start doing this. And that's why it's also important to go slow. You can't start the whole of the move, let's say, of the strike that you're trying to do. You can start it immediately. Start slow. Okay, just start slow. Even close your eyes. You don't even need the targeting system for this. Just close your eyes and go like, forget targeting now. Forget targeting. It's all about motion and breathing. Now that's what I'm gonna be doing now. I wanna do that now. So you go like, forget speed. Okay, just breathe. Don't stop doing this, which is not the correct way to strike, but it doesn't matter because you're not training that. You're not training your technique or your strength. You're just training the animation. Does that make sense? You're like teaching yourself the basics of what you're trying to accomplish. All right? And that's where the breathing that I was talking about comes in, because now it's not no, that's a different thing. In a vacuum, default, your number one button, your left mouse button on its own, all it should do ever is like just a jab. No, nothing else, okay? Your breathing is, regardless of where you are in this animation, your breathing is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and repeat indefinitely, regardless of what your arms are doing, okay? Indefinitely. And that's important because that minimizes the exertion in your body. Because unless you need to perform some really interesting feats, you need your heart at a stable rate. You must not be too excited, okay? And don't ask me for what reason, because I'm not a fucking inventor of that thing, but it just works. And if you don't believe me, then forget the timings and just breathe. Just breathe. Do include in, hold, out, hold, in, hold, out, hold. Include that. Fuck timings, just do that while you're striking. But make sure it's independent from your striking. Because you also don't want your opponent to know when your breath is going in, because they might try to wind you. By which I mean they might try to strike you somewhere where it might have an effect with your breathing. So if you're breathing in, and that's when they find your solar plexus, nah, bad experience, right? So yeah, you don't want that. You just want a very regular, default, vanilla breathing, you know? And you also don't want to exert yourself. But how may you may say, how do I not exert myself but also like fight? Well, that is conditioning. I can't help you with that. Keep doing it, and then, you know, you'll just build stamina, and you'll be able to not exert yourself, especially with the help of that breathing pattern, in doing simple things like running a little bit, like a bit of jogging, or just moving around, like pivoting, okay? And this also ties in with like the economy of movement that we have to talk about eventually, because that also helps. Like there are several tricks that help you keeping, you know, your rhythm regulated, okay? Because the moment that your rhythm becomes irregular, many things can occur, okay? Many things can occur there, and half of them at least are exploitable. So it's not, you can't really wing it. If you're really serious about it, I assume you are, I guess, then you can't really wing it, you know. But there will be times when you can do that as well. But training the way that I say will make that experience a little bit easier on your body and on yourself, you know. And who knows, you might, in the moment, the instinct might kick in to fucking fall back into your rhythm and catch a little bit of a second wind there. You know, go like, wait a minute, yeah, I exerted myself, let's go back to like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But yeah, you have to do it enough so that your brain isn't thinking it, which is difficult. It's difficult, honestly. I'm not sure I can do that anymore. Where your brain just doesn't count even, it just happens, right? It just goes like, just fall back into that rhythm, you know? But we started from movement in a vacuum. And I explained the whole switching, and the whole 8 directions, right? 8 directions. Uh, Whether it's like with your leg, with your front or with your front or back leg rooted, or with switching your front and back legs, you got 8 directions. And now these directions, you might think, oh, it's just movement. It's not, because, for example, let's say that there is like a strike coming, which is a straight line, okay? It doesn't matter what kind of strike, but it's a straight line. Well, by moving, you're evading. So there is no, like some kind of ninja move. It's just like, okay, you just move. And now there's nothing there where you were before. Amazing, right? Who knew that just moving out of the way produces a dodge, right? Which doesn't need to be a Dark Souls dodge, which I almost did, by the way. I stopped myself. I was about to roll. But that would have severe effects because I haven't done it for a while, and this floor is not ideal. And also, yeah, there are many objects that, trust me, I'm not gonna break if I roll into them. Okay, I will hurt myself, but I stopped myself, so that's good. But dodging is unrealistic when you do it with diving. Okay, it is very useful in some circumstances that are rare, and you should generally try to avoid it. As a general thought, try to have some economy of movement and some tactical grasp on your surroundings, such that you don't need to resort or can't be pressured to resort to anything but default stuff. Yeah. Because default stuff is very powerful. If done correctly, simple movement, everyday movement is all you will ever need in any situation, if done correctly, and you're quick of wit, and you're perceptive, and you're thinking, okay? If you're relaxed, you don't need to resort to any weird shit, okay? But weird shit does have a spot, and they're very nice to be able to do, including spinning, including other stuff. And when I say spinning, you might think, yeah, who would spin? But who would spin? All right, so if I want, for example, I would never, let's say I want to strike with my back leg, but over my back in a straight line. So you would immediately think, oh, I know that move. It's this, right? I know that move. You don't know shit, because you don't know what you're doing, because what you're doing is like 5 different things, like literally. And so break it down. If you don't break it down, you can't perform it fluidly. If you perform it fluidly only, then you can't break it down, and then you're gonna be like, when will I use that? It's useless, but it's not. Just break it down. What happened there? Let's say somebody's striking me. I pivot there, all right? Now I shift my weight there because I want to turn and do that, and now suddenly that's a spinning kick. So it's not just out of nowhere, you just decide to press, down backwards and then high kick and then you do that move. That's not how that shit works. It's all about positioning and tactics. If somebody gives you, you should take it, they shouldn't give you. But if your situation, to put it better, is ideal for it, and you need a strong strike that is relatively long range, because range actually matters and range dictates what you're using. So if the situation is right and you just want to do that, you should, because that is a strong strike. Because the force of the spin and the thrust and all that shit, and if you aim it right, and that's your leg. Your leg, I don't know if you know that, but your legs are far more powerful than your arms. Okay? Especially if you're working out properly and you're not just a gym bro or a gym sister who just skipped all leg day, then I wouldn't be doing spinning butt kicks, trust me. I wouldn't. There are other things you can do regarding your body type, we'll talk about your body type, because it also detects a lot of things, you know. But assuming, again, an average body type, like whatever, then yes, if you get that opening, I mean, what's going to happen here? If the other person is trying to come in, right? They're over there. Let's assume like optimal circumstances, and they're trying to come in. The moment you notice the movement, you're already there. They're here, and now you're planting your leg so firmly inside that it's like, and the distance doesn't matter because you've created this distance, right? You've already created this distance. Well, what do you want me to say? Plus, of course, in that situation, if that person is close and you don't end up too far or as far as you should, then it's not just a strike that you're doing, but it's a pushing strike, which is a different thing. So a strike is different than a pushing strike, you know. It differs, right? It differs. It's not the same. It's a different type of striking. Like putting your weight into it is a different kind of thing. In this situation, you would, because if you're too close and you know you're performing like your butt kick there, but now they're there. They're not where you thought they would be. Striking, you know, just striking. Your leg cannot extend to the right, you know, percentage. But if you're pushing, you're striking and you're extending. You're opening the distance by pushing them. Which, oh yeah, but that doesn't hurt as much. Yeah, maybe it doesn't, but that's why when that finishes, right, and you're there, then you go for the proper one, which you have planned from before. Now you're doing 2 spinning back kicks, but your mind, you know, your pedestrian mind, before I started explaining, may have thought that like, oh, you don't use that move, but you do. It depends, and yeah, I mean, you don't even have to be on the side. I mean, so to show you why I said it's 5 different things. So it's which direction I'm gonna go. I have to check my target. Like I go here, but I'm checking, right? I can see. I'm not even spinning unless I know where my target is. Oh, now I'm spinning. Okay, but what if I don't want to do that strike because the guy is too close to me, for example? All right, so I spin there. And then I extend my leg. So, but it's still a spinning back kick because I did the motion, right? It's like I did the motion, but instead of like launching it there and going like for this typical thing, I go there. And it's just like, you know, it becomes a front kick, but I've spin on my back. Interesting. Interesting, right? So it's not down backwards and high kick and oh, this is how you do that strike. No, because part of it is determining which of your parts you're going to use, okay? When? Is it after a movement? Is it after I switch my legs? When is it? Which part includes also, is it gonna be like this? Is it gonna be here? Is it gonna be this? Is it gonna be this? Well, which part is it? And then which part of the opponent are we striking? Because that is going to determine which part of this shit you're gonna use, right? But in a vacuum, this hurts a lot. Planting this into someone hurts a lot. Even if it's just the front, right? Boom, there. That hurts. Okay, that fucking hurts. If you push it into someone, that hurts a lot. You know, more than like, you know, other parts. But maybe you want a bit of extra reach. In which case you want like the ball of your foot, or even more penetration, where you want, you know, your toes. If you have trained that. So, or you're trying to go for like a not too accurate strike in the ribs. You would use the edge of your foot, for example, right? So yeah. And you might think like, okay, so what happens with this part here? Okay, with everyone. I mean, how many times have you seen that in a movie where like they go like, you know, the typical like high kick, you know, it's like this, all right, in your face. I don't have the elasticity to do that. We'll check that later. But they do that, you know. Oh yeah, and it's like they slap with this, and I say slap, you know, because that's all it is. Take that shit And instead of that, sort of like this slapping action, raise your feet, raise your toes, all right, like this. Aim to strike with this. So now you're not slapping, you're actually striking, okay? And you don't bring it from the outside because that shit is predictable. You pivot. So you change, right? There, that's how that looks. It doesn't look like that, okay? It looks like there, that's how that looks, okay? Jesus Christ. Where did that start, huh? It started with changing my stance, right? But it's combined with raising my leg because I want to use it, you know, and also there is like the spring action, and then you plant it in there. It's not, the strike that you see in movies is this, okay, it's this, there. What I'm doing is this, there, okay, 45 in, or the face, or here, okay, or here, anywhere, 45, okay, it's not, it doesn't come from the outside like there, you don't do that, okay, even though that can also be a strike. That's when you want to push. Remember when I talked about pushing strike? Okay, you want to push all the way in, but then you go like this. I can't do it while talking and I'm out of shape, but the idea is there. Okay, that is the idea. Like, goes in, turns there. But remember to be checking. So I'm checking, all right, I do that, but if I sit here, I'm checking, and then I finish. Because I need to see what they're doing, because maybe I've missed, and so now I need to move, okay? Now I need to move a bit. So movement, right? All of this to say that these 8 directions, so the principle of, do I want rooted legs? Which leg? This, that, neither? Do I want to pivot and root that? Or pivot and root that? Either way, I've got 8 directions to go. And it's actually 16 if we count the 2 different modes, target lock or not. Do I want to still be facing my opponent when I finish my move? Or do I really just want to move? Okay, because now this is different. Like, my legs are going that way. It's different, okay? I can still look, but my legs are like that way. They're not like this way. I hope you understand. But yeah, it's 16 movements already. 16 fucking movements already. Like, what the fuck? And let's not even talk about, you know, moving backwards as well, because moving backwards in and on itself can have like some complication. And we haven't even talked about, because this is like the simple movement, but what if we want like a short shuffle? You know, what if we want like a shuffle or like a jump, right? A short jump out of the way, you know, or again a shuffle, right? Or what if we want like a complete like jump like this, right? And why would you do that? Well, maybe there is something in the way and you need to actually, you know, move away from it. Who the fuck knows? But like, movement isn't as simple as you would think. As ridiculous as I look doing it. So yeah. What can I tell you? Like, movement is interesting. That's it. That's movement. I feel stupid showing you because I feel stupid in front of the camera, but like, and I've never done this in front of a camera. I've done it in front of an audience, but not in front of a camera, which is actually a much larger audience potentially, which no, that's not true because nobody's watching. But if someone was, you know, my head is going and telling me, oh, you know, it's so this and that. But yeah, movement, I mean, movement can, regarding movement, right? The more you advance this, you can even move with just like producing thrust with your knees, for example, okay? It's like easier that way, okay? It's easier. And that's because also it can deter something from coming in, right? God, I've never, it feels awkward with the camera. I feel like bad. But I'm trying, okay? Like you will go farther with less effort if you just like thrust with your knee, okay? Is what I'm saying. Which is not even really your knee thrusting, it's your whole like pelvis, right? Now, remember when I said you have to be on the ball of your foot? It's to reduce drag. One of the reasons why, not the only reason why, is to reduce drag. Because if you're on your heel and you want to move there and you want to produce some thrust like that, well, you know, if you're too focused on like being locked on the ground, that's gonna drag a bit. But if you're already on the ball of your foot, it's like boing, you know, you just go. You just go. Easy. And that comes into play later. But in some cases, you also want to be firmly planted, right? In some cases, like when you want to push someone, well, you want to be planted. And when I'm talking about, you know, the only type of pushing you should be doing, which is not your typical push like that, for which you would want to do this thrusting move, it's more like a planted push, which starts from, you guessed it, here, not here. Because like, okay, and trust me, that shit, whoo, it is super effective. Like, if you do it right, with breathing, and where you're going to touch your opponent, and let me tell you, where you should be touching is here. I can't, how can I do it on myself? Because my arms just don't go that way. So what you do is, here, does that make sense? You're pressing upwards from the rib cage. There, okay? Or just, you know, for that you don't want to be, you want to be rooted to push. You don't want to be, you know, just like that. You can add that afterwards for more thrust, but it begins by being rooted, okay? So in that case, you don't want to be on the ball of your foot, you want your heels rooted. Once the contact happens and you push, let's say they're there, and you push here, then that's safe to extend it, okay? To do that. And why would you want to do that? Well, have you seen how far you can throw a person? Yeah. If you see how far you can throw, you can throw a person pretty impressively far. I mean, I used to be 70, 60, 68, let's say, to 72, my average, okay? And let me tell you, I could push a person, like literally double my weight, okay? So near where I am right now. Well, okay, maybe not near, but like maybe 30 kilos above me or 40 kilos above me right now. I could push them effectively 3 meters or something, maybe 4. They couldn't fucking resist it. There was nothing to divert, there was nothing. And that's the beauty of like some Tai Chi moves. Some Tai Chi, I say moves, but what I mean is application of contact. Does that make sense? Application of contact? Like that push is Tai Chi, it's this pure Tai Chi, you know, it's like you go like, alright? That's pure fucking, that's what you do. That works. You can push someone, like, so imagine if somebody is next to you and they're threatening a person here, you go like, well, fuck you, dude. You just like, just fucking fling them over there, and now you're like, hey, think about it, don't go on. Just fucking think about it. And that's it, you know? It has some applications. Trust, it does. You're never gonna do the whole thing of like, you're gonna punch someone and then you're gonna like push them like that, but like let's say there is like an obstacle, let's say that there is like something else you need to move, Yeah, it works. Like if you put it in the correct, if you apply the pressure in the correct like center of weight on the other person, okay, that's it. You move them. You move them. You do. You really do. And that takes some practice as well. It takes some practice. I mean, these guys, they sit there and they touch and they go like, you know, I don't know if you've done it, I've done it. And then for 1 hour or something, right? You just touch hands and you're trying to trick your friend into pushing in such a way that you cause them to lose their balance. Whereas they're trying to do the same. And you're going like, you're trying to create openings and shift their weight in such a way that you overtake them. A little bit like sumo, okay? But yeah, practice that. And then practice immediately finding the center of that weight and like giving it momentum. Trust me. And if you're strong, or if you're also strong, that guy is gonna fly. That guy is gonna need a fucking flight license, you know, at the end of the day. So trust me. And yeah, strength augments what you're doing. And I'm gonna talk about that. Strength, flexibility, stamina. All of these physical stats improve what you're doing. But it's not the end all be all, okay? And I'm not saying don't be healthy. I'm saying most of these things will have an effect regardless of your musculature and your physique and your stamina and everything. They will have an effect. Like, you know, unless you are, and excuse me for saying that, but unless you're like extremely wimpy, as in you can't even activate your muscles at all. Like you can't even like, you know, stress your muscles in any way, like you've never done it before, you just don't know how, or you were never interested, then yeah, just throwing a punch like that, no, that's not gonna do anything. But we're taking a very average person, and by average I mean somebody who maybe has played some sports, maybe, you know, once in their life they've done, you know, physical education, they were not like the worst of the worst, you know, just an average person. Okay, but if you're extremely wimpy, then, dude, nothing that I say is gonna help you because that is just your personality. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay? Not everyone needs to know how to fucking fight. You know, some of us are just made for beauty, and some of us are made for very deep thinking, and some of us are made for other things. But on average, whatever I've taught, wow, bad word, whatever I've told you even so far, it will apply to like 80% of the human population, I want to believe, and from what I've seen anyways. So yeah, and usually when it doesn't work, it's not because the other person is such a wimp to the point where they're too weak physically. No, what usually happens in the crushing majority, you cannot believe that, in the crushing majority of cases, it's in here and in here. They don't have the heart. Their mind is not into it, their heart is not into it. There is no fighting spirit. They're not a wimp, their body can do it, but there's nothing behind it. There's no drive behind the punch. There's no, I want to fucking do it. I want to do it, you know? There's nothing there. It's like a kick. Yeah, that kick is gonna hurt you, by the way. But it's not gonna hurt you as much as like somebody going like, just, you know, just going down with you, you know? So it's usually not that the other person is a wimp, and I just mostly use the term for fun. It's just such a 90s term. I'm not really meaning it. But yeah, there will be a low percentage where these people just can't fight because their body just cannot move that way. And that is okay. And your heart not being in it is also okay because, hey, at least you're getting some physical, right? At least you're just, maybe at least you're absorbing a little bit of the information in your favorite local dojo or wherever else you fucking go that might at one point help you or somebody else, maybe somehow, you know. Maybe you just need to carry a weight and you remember that, oh, it's better to lift with my legs. even if you took that away, it's already such a huge success, you know. But yeah, initially what I was trying to say is that, like, yeah, there's gotta be motivation. The good thing, I'm not here to motivate you. I don't give a fuck about you. I'm motivating me to move, and it's succeeding because I'm moving. So yeah, maybe you need to find something to motivate you to move, right? But I'm not it. I don't want to be responsible for anything like that. So yeah. Anyway, so what did we say about today? Like, what was today's like lesson? Okay, movement, the basics. So how do we stand? I didn't talk to you about your fucking head, right? Because we talked about breathing, but we didn't talk about your head. We talked about your shoulders, but we didn't talk about your head. And so what's up with your head? So tuck in your chin, because you don't want to be like this. It's an easy target. So you want to tuck it in a little bit. Also because if something comes this way, which it shouldn't, but if it does, at least if you're a little bit already in a more deflective kind of posture, there's a higher chance you're gonna, like, you know, go with a punch, and then it's not gonna do as much damage or at all damage. And I've experienced that firsthand. I've been punched in the face by a fucking purebred gym jockey fascist. Alright? The guy just went, like, you know, he was walking. I was just sitting like this. Well, the height was different, but I was just, like, let's say, leaning back, beer in hand, going like, oh yeah, let me just drink this. And so there goes this guy with his friend, goes like, sees me, you know, oh, tranny, yeah, fucking, oh, what a lady boy, and goes like, oh, you know, completely just fucking goes there, you know. And I eat that, but I've seen it because I work with peripheral, but I saw it, I caught it, and I go like, oh, limp neck, okay, limp neck, chin in, relax your jaw, don't clench, in fucking nanoseconds. What did I feel? Nothing. It was like somebody doing this to me. I'm not even exaggerating. I felt like somebody doing like, can you turn your head for me? Thank you. I didn't even believe it. I was like, am I missing a tooth? Am I dizzy? Am I like, what's going on? Nothing was going on. I fucking absorbed that shit like a pro. There was nothing there. And that arm was like my fucking torso. So, 75-25 balls of food, okay? Protect, relatively protect, relax your neck. Don't clench your teeth, okay? Don't be like this either. You're not blow-jobbing anyone, okay? You're blowing people. You're just like, you know, find a nice little comfortable, you know, place. Keep it a little bit in, 45 degrees, you know. Okay, you want to change? Alright, we're changing. If it comes this way, it deflects, goes through. Okay, it comes this way, deflects, go through. Help it with your body, pivot. Alright, use your body, okay? It will work. It will work, trust. I didn't expect it to work, I was just standing there. Boom. But I went like, ugh, no. And it fucking, it hit me. I knew it hit me. I felt it. I felt the bones. Nothing happened. It was literally like somebody turning my head around for a kiss. It felt like somebody did like this. That's what it felt like. Because I deflected it perfectly. That guy was fucked if I fought him. Trust. Anyway, because he didn't know how to throw a punch. I can flex a little. What? Shut the fuck up. Of course I can flex a little. Fuck you. Okay, anyway. So we talked about all that. We talked about posture. Talked about like the pivoting and all that crap. And then like the different, like your body has to be different. And then facing different directions, but also facing that direction. Okay. And we talked about the directions of going with our 8 directions. And then we talked about like routing your legs and which leg. And I even went a little bit into like, you know, ways to go, you know, like this or a shuffle or, you know, a dash, I should say rather. And I told you about like maybe using your knee as well to add a little bit of protection and a little bit of like momentum. And yeah. But we didn't talk about covering distance or creating distance. And that is for the next time. Because that movement that I just showed you today is close range. At best, mid-range movement. But what happens if you want to really move? Different methods. And yes, you can spin while doing it. Yes, that is the thing. Depending on what you want to do, of course. Depending on what you want to follow it with. And how to train that? Well, start with the simplest thing. The simplest thing. Train that. Use your ways to do that, okay? Before you know it, the different ways to go about it. You just try. Sorry, there is like obstacles here and it's fucking me. Yeah. Before you know it, you're gonna be doing like things like this, for example, like there. That stuff, or like literally the opposite, where you go like this, okay? And it depends. And trust me, it's difficult to move around 90 kilos that I have. Like my body's just not used to that. I'm not used to working out while I weigh 90 kilos, okay? It's just difficult. But maybe it will make me strong and maybe I'll burn the fat away. Maybe. That's it. I don't know what to tell you. That's it for today. Maybe I'll forget what I want to talk about. Wait. Because now that it's over, we can go like this. You don't need to see my legs anymore. What happened there? Hey, don't give up on me. There. No, is it still fucking... I can't understand. But yeah, we pretty much... Lesson over. I had to do that, sorry. Not so. Maybe there? Is that better? Yeah, that's better. Okay, that's like, yeah, that's what we want. Alright, so yeah. I mean, no, for real, it's over. That's it. Who knows when I'll do the next one? I will do it though, but it's gonna be a Saturday for sure. Okay? I don't know why I'm dancing, but I am dancing a little bit, like happy feet, It's fuck off. All right, so don't forget to smile and dance. Is what I'm gonna say. Just smile, dance a little, all this exercise. Come on, dude. Like, yeah. I don't know. Use your body. Trust me. Use it. Use your body. It's nice. It feels good. I felt awesome that Saturday. I felt awesome going out. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, what the fuck? This feels like a bit from The Office, right? Enough. I'm out, okay? You don't need to fucking watch me anymore. So next time I'll talk about something else. Just as a mental note, we did talk about breathing as well. Like, we touched on breathing, not too much, but I did bring it up, so that's interesting. But I think I would like to go into longer range movement options and how to close the gap and how to create gap, because I feel that's also important. And maybe expand on breathing a little bit if I can, because I don't know if I'll remember anything. And no, this was good. Okay, I enjoyed it. And if you didn't, I don't give a fuck, because this was primarily done for myself. Pour moi. By moi, but hey. And yeah, okay, that's it. Thanks for watching. If you did, and if you didn't, that's okay, because this is, as I said, like strictly for myself. But if you did watch and you liked it, then thank you. and I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'll catch you on Monday. Oh, and guess who has Veilguard? Guess who has fucking Veilguard? Guess who also has fucking Helldivers too? And Skyrim Anniversary Edition. We're going modding, baby. Anyway, thanks to Neris for all that shit. It's amazing. I played Helldivers. It's pretty cool. But I will talk about that when it's appropriate. But for now, yeah. Thank you for watching and have an amazing rest of the weekend. And kisses. Bye bye.